You are now tuned.
Talkline Network Radio, America's longest-running Jewish broadcast network, the voice of the Jewish community.
Welcome to the podcast. And now,
you're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
And now, here's your host.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Zev Brenner. The world's attention has been focused on Afghanistan and the suffering that's there, and unfortunately going to continue to be suffering. But there's been suffering going on in Haiti, and our guests in the Orthodox Jewish community have decided to do something about it. Rabbi Yeruchim Silber, Director of New York Government Relations for Good Israel America, joins us, as does Josh Mehlman, the CEO of the Flatbush Jewish Community Coalition. Gentlemen, thank you for being on our show.
Thank you. Good to be here again, Zev.
Good to have you back.
Good to be on, Zev.
And so I know the Good Israel and the FJCC usually focuses on things that of concern to the Jewish community and helping the members of our community. But I noticed that when the recent devastation in Haiti, that you, the Good and the FJCC got together to try to help out those people in Haiti that need help. So how did it all come about?
I think it starts back 11 years ago when there was the earthquake, the last earthquake in Haiti in 2010, I believe it was. I remember then the Jewish community coming together in a very big way. Look, you know, we are people we're people of Chesed. Now we see suffering in the world, and you know, Jews have a long history of helping, you know, people. I remember just not Haiti. I know in Puerto Rico when they had the Hurricane Maria a few years ago. Israel, which is an Israeli humanitarian organization, was the first group on the ground. In fact, I was in Puerto Rico. I saw their work firsthand, and Haiti as well. So we have a history of that, of helping people, and there's devastation, many people, you know, killed and homeless. So the thought was, let's see what we could do, us as a community, let's see what we could do to help them.
Now, it's actually helping the victims of the earthquake. I noticed in Rockland County, but there's a large Haitian population right near the Hasidic community that they also are involved in helping.
As well as there's in Brooklyn. Josh could talk about that, the Haitian community in Brooklyn, who was really our neighbors in Brooklyn.
That's right. I agree with you, Yeruchim. Well said. We have a very strong relationship with the leadership and the community. They're literally our neighbors, the Haitian community in Brooklyn, and many of the elected officials from our area actually come from that circle, including the Assemblywoman Radnise Bishat, who's the Kings County Democratic leader, Council Member Matthew Eugene, and others, and of course our Councilwoman Farah Lewis. There are others as well. It's an important relationship that we have. We built a coalition, a Black Jewish coalition, years back, and we all work together to common cause. And we are there for each other. Our communities are there for each other, and it's so important that we all come together at a tragic situation like this. I think now at this point there are up to over 2,200 people were killed in this earthquake. It's a huge, and Haiti, to start with, is a poor country. The infrastructure was totally destroyed in many areas. I know Israel, the country Israel, has sent support and sent aid, and across the United States, people are starting to pitch in, and our community wants to do the same thing. We're coming together with Kojo Flatbush, our FJCC, Agudath Israel, Borough Park Community Council, and many other groups are coming together to show support in unity with our brothers and sisters who are our neighbors.
No, it's so important because the image that the Orthodox Jewish community has, if you look in the media, they tend to portray it as being insular, not really involved in the community around them or especially out of this country. So you said it's not just something recent. You did it years ago with another earthquake in Haiti where there was a relief efforts. So I think it's important that we speak about it because people have this wrong impression of our community.
Yeah, and I also want to mention the Masbia organization, you know, Alexander Rappaport, who did a drive. We're in Rockland County today. As you mentioned, in Rockland County, in Spring Valley, there's a large Haitian community. He was there together with Aaron Weedle, who's a local legislator, the Agudath Israel representative over there. Simcha Achting joined them, so there was a very big drive. So it's really across the community. And, yeah, you know, we have, we're out there to help other communities, especially when we see suffering.
No, it was so nice to hear because, like I said, the impression, listen, let's face it, recently Orthodox Jews have gotten a pretty bad deal, pretty bad rap in the media. When you have TV shows and portraying it and very negative stereotypes. And one of those stereotypes is that we're clownish and we don't get involved in broader issues. And you didn't make a big fanfare about it. They didn't put out ads in the New York Times, but it's been done in the community. So it's something which I believe we should really be highlighting more because it shows what we're doing. The chesed, the charity goes just beyond our community when people really need help, such as in Haiti, the community is there to help out.
I would add as well that it's not a new thing that our communities work together. The Haitian community has stood up when there was anti-Semitic attacks. They've stood out and they've made statements and stood with us. They've come to meetings with us, with the police officials. And, you know, we all work together. We live in the same borough. We live in the same communities, whether it be in Rockland County or in Brooklyn or throughout New York City for that matter. We live in the same city, we live in the same areas, and we all have the same concerns. We all want the same thing: public safety, secure communities. We want our kids to go to school safely and people go to work safely. And when it comes to standing up, when something, you know, someone's home country, like when there's an attack in Israel, we expect our elected officials, the surrounding areas, to support the state of Israel because it's important to our community. When their home country of Haiti has such a tragic incident happen, we must stand up, and we are united in standing up and supporting them. And
that's
important, and that'll break any stereotype. You know, there's always people looking to make stereotypes and looking to divide. We ignore them. We are always there. Yeruchim, the Agudath Israel, the FJCC, and our partner organizations, Kojo Flatbush, Borough Park, JCC, we're all here to unite and not to divide. We're here to unite, to work together, and I have to add that the UJ Federation, I believe, is supporting our group as well, is working together with us, and we invite all groups to work together with us in a united way to help our neighbors who have family and friends in Haiti that are suffering.
No, it's so important that we do that. Is this a prototype for doing the same thing for the victims in Afghanistan? Because I have a feeling that's, well, it's not an earthquake, but it's certainly a political one. Unfortunately, there's going to be suffering and devastation in that country too. So your skills and help might be needed to help those who were left behind in Afghanistan.
Yeah, listen, that is a complicated issue, and we're not sure where that's going. We'll wait to see how this all ends out. Especially with the Taliban there, who knows? What gets with that. It's a very tragic situation. I'm sure it'll be up for a different show. What's going on in Afghanistan? No,
I said it tongue in cheek, but the truth is there's a catastrophe there. But in Haiti, it's an earthquake. It's a national disaster. They need help, and nice it must be it's involved. So I guess they'll be eating kosher food.
Yeah, I mean, there's just food or other supplies being sent along, and the people are raising funds, and there's all kinds of efforts going on.
Yeah, Yashiko, because this is certainly important work, so we wanted to highlight that. So I wanted to thank you for what you're doing, Rabbi Yeruchim Silber, Director of New York Government Relations, A Good Israel of America. Thank you for being here with us. And Josh Mehlman, the CEO of the Flatbush Jewish Community Coalition, the FJCC. Thank you, and I'm glad to see we have alliances and coalitions because we need that, especially in today's New York. We have to be working together with a whole variety of groups, and we have to see that, especially in Brooklyn, that indeed is the case.
Right, and thank you, Zev, for always highlighting important work on your show. You're an excellent forum that's important to our community, and wish you well, especially in the new year. Ksiva and Chasima Taiva, a happy, healthy New Year to you and all the listeners.
Yep.
You too.
Again, a good year to all your listeners, and it's a pleasure being on again.
And thank you, and keep up the wonderful work. And hopefully, we won't be needed to do it. But if a crisis comes about, it's nice to know that the Jewish community is there in so many different ways to be helpful and to bring food and relief to those that need it. So thank you for what you're doing. Continued success and good Gebench Yar Shana Tova.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Be well.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Talkline Radio and TV with Zev Brenner is just phenomenal. Everybody concerned about the Jewish community should listen and watch. He has the best guests. He asks the most interesting questions. He's always so well prepared. It's talk radio and television from a Jewish point of view at its very best.
To advertise on the Talkline network and Talkline's email and social media blasts reaching over 70,000 people, please call 212-769-1925, extension 100. That's 212-769-1925, extension 100. Or email info@talklinenetwork.com.
Thanks for listening.
For continuous Jewish programs, talklinenetwork.com, or our 24-hour-a-day listen line at 641-741-0389. For past shows, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, Instagram, and all major podcast platforms, or jewishpodcast.org. Thanks for listening to the talklinenetwork.com.
Talkline Network